Look at this continuous, steady rhythm. This muscle beats around 100,000 times a day, entirely in the dark. Because it operates completely out of sight, it is difficult to know when poor diet or lack of sleep finally take their toll on it, usually without a single outward symptom. To understand how that hidden damage happens, we have to look at the structure itself. The heavy lifting is done by the myocardium, the thick muscular tissue of the heart wall responsible for actively contracting. Wrapping tightly around it is the pericardium, a tough membrane sac that strictly encloses, shields, and anchors the heart safely within the chest cavity. This dual-layered machine is incredibly resilient, but its invisibility leaves it exposed. Because we cannot consciously feel the myocardium wearing down or the pressure building inside that sac, biological wear and tear accumulates quietly over decades. The purpose of this engine is to facilitate a continuous biological exchange. Blood pumps from the right side of the heart straight to the lungs, where it drops off the carbon dioxide waste generated by your cells. In that exact same split second, the blood picks up fresh oxygen, preparing to carry that vital fuel out to sustain the rest of the body. This animated pressure gauge tracks outward flow. The peak is the systolic pressure, the force exerted on artery walls when the heart contracts. Between beats, the vessel relaxes. This lower reading is the diastolic pressure, the baseline force remaining while the heart rests and refills. In a healthy vascular system, that resting baseline pressure needs to hover slightly lower than 120/80. Staying under that specific threshold prevents the physical tissue of your arteries from experiencing long-term mechanical fatigue. That threshold is where human behavior enters the equation. When a person becomes inactive and begins to put on weight, the physical demands on the circulatory system scale up immediately. It comes down to basic physics. Additional physical mass literally requires miles of new microscopic blood vessels to supply it. To push fluid through that expanded, restrictive network, the heart has to pump much harder. This line chart tracks rising body weight over time compared against cardiovascular risk. As the visual illustrates, long-term elevated blood pressure is directly correlated with a dramatic, aggressive increase in heart disease. When the physical mass goes up, the risk curve inevitably follows. The danger lies in the timeline. A person does not wake up with a failing heart. It is a gradual, creeping progression of stress applied to the arterial walls, day after day. Routine lifestyle choices slowly alter the basic physics of your entire body. A perfectly balanced circulatory loop slowly morphs into a high-friction, pressurized trap. Imagine a patient actively tracking their vital signs over 5 years. The numbers inch upward, 125/85, then 128/88. A doctor looking at these rising values would conclude the readings officially qualified them as prehypertensive. This visual gauge demonstrates what prehypertensive means. It is a condition where blood pressure is elevated above the normal healthy range, acting as a flashing warning light, but it has not quite reached the threshold to be classified as full hypertension. If that warning is ignored, the pressure climbs further. Look at this simulation. Instead of a smooth flow, the heart is now forcing fluid through rigid, unyielding tubes under immense strain. This represents clinical hypertension, meaning abnormally and persistently high blood pressure. Hypertension is a severe mechanical crisis. The heavy working heart is literally fighting against the extreme resistance of its own vascular network, wearing out the biological motor with every single pump. All of that friction has a direct physical consequence. The constant, unchecked pressure creates microscopic tears and intense structural damage along the delicate, smooth inner lining of the arteries. This cross-section shows the body's attempt to patch tears, leading to atherosclerosis. Here, deposits of fatty material, or plaques, build up on the inner walls of damaged arteries. These deposits rapidly multiply and expand inward, eventually clogging the wide, flexible vessel with hardened plaque. When an artery is blocked, the blood cannot flow. It physically starves the surrounding body tissues of the oxygen they desperately need to pick up to survive, setting the stage for catastrophic failure. Systolic pressure, atherosclerosis, and the health of the myocardium directly reflect your long-term health trajectory. These measurements are the physical manifestations of your daily habits, your diet, and your activity levels over a lifetime. But there is a mechanical advantage built into the system. Because these biological issues are so heavily correlated with behavior, the physical damage can often be halted or actively mitigated. When you actively choose to get back into shape, you start stripping away that mechanical resistance. Shedding excess weight and exercising reduces the sheer volume of tissue the heart has to supply, allowing the blood vessels to regain their natural elasticity. Understanding the mechanics of your own circulatory system removes the mystery of heart disease. It gives you the tangible, practical power to lower the pressure, protect your myocardium, and ultimately extend your own life.